And ladies and gentlemen, it's our great pleasure to invite Mr. Vikezi Razak to deliver the keynote address to our conference. Let's give them a warm applause for this, sir.
Good evening, all of you. And it's my great pleasure and privilege to be standing in front of you for this keynote address, along with other dignitaries and especially Beena ma'am moderating this session. And I think we will not forget ma'am for initiating the K-Shift, which is now in the limelight for a lot of controversies. So ma'am, no, but that controversy came because it is told that it is 2 minutes clearance. So that is why the controversy. So anyhow, it's a wonderful initiative ma'am started when ma'am was in charge of KSIDC. And it is along with other all dignitaries. I think we have only 30 minutes for the panel discussion and 10 minutes for keynote address. So I'm not going to the other initial remarks. So while any business, the topic of today is nurturing traditional business. So for any business to grow up or this thing, so there are 4 fundamental things if we put it. They are basically like environment and business model innovation and strategy and wisdom to create power brands. So when we take the first element, environment, so be it a plant, be it anything, be it an organization or be it a establishment. So nature is one important thing for any business or anything to grow. So here again I am coming back to that same topic. See the 2 major reports which came the one is the Global Startup System Report 2024. And the Ease of Doing Business 2024, which Dr. Shashi Tharoor quoted for claiming that Kerala's environment has changed. So a prominent opposition person sitting in the opposition, when he congratulating the government for the environment, I think we can all assume that there is a visible change has happened. And that is why we are all standing here. And that visible change, actually, the government has made it over a period of time. I think we have just mentioned that it started when the earlier ministry was there at the time, ma'am was in the KSIDC, and it is still continuing. So now it is clear that now the environment is very clear for nurturing any kind of a business, be it traditional or be it modern or be it a hybrid model. So any business, now it's a clear environment. So I'll just take an example from our industry or my industry from where we come from. See, footwear was not in the manufacturing map of Kerala before, though we had a rubber manufacturing at one point of time. Later on, it was limited to very few manufacturing sector. But now, when Calicut, a few of the manufacturers joined together to make an environment for industries to come up, lot of small industries starting from a simple reprocessed PVC plastic footwear manufacturing cluster to the recent development of PU footwear, now Kerala was almost producing half of total India's production at one point of time. So a change in the environment just by created by a few entrepreneurs, it came that the entire ecosystem got changed and the business became, footwear business become an important business in Calicut. So environment is one of the key point with regards to business environment. The other one is the business model innovation. So we know that today business is completely depending on the business model that you are adopting. it's a complete framework. So there are different models. We have conventional model, which is normal manufacturing, retailing or trading business. And the new modern business like kind of an aggregator or online D2C. And the third model is a hybrid model. So any business actually, if we don't adopt the latest system, we will not be able to survive. So, so we know that a lot of old industries, see everybody knows Netflix. It was like a video rental company once upon a time. So a very traditional business or very, what you call a normal business, but now it became one of the top streaming industry with adopting to the, changing the business model. See, when the technology develop, the opportunities comes to you, and we have to change the complete model. So travel agent business, once upon a time ticket booking was one of the major business, but Make My Trip changed the complete scenario. So any business, if we change that model, I mean business model, it has a opportunity to grow to any level, and there is no limit to that. And we also know the companies where there was no change also. I mean, I think one of the most example is our smartphones. Nokia was in everybody's hand once at one time, but nowadays I think very few people having Nokia because they did not do the proper upgradation at that point of time. So again, we as a footwear industry also, there are a lot of changes. And we all follow a conventional model of business, but recently in the footwear industry also, a lot of changes has come, and D2C, B2B, and all these models have come, and especially the EBOs, direct reaching to the consumer has become one of the new model for business. So any business, I mean, when there is an opportunity to change and when there is an opportunity to grow, so we have to make use of that opportunity. And next one is the strategy. The strategies, maybe the words looks more kind of complicated, but it's something like where you want to be and how you want to do it within this complicated or within this completely competitive situation. So anything and everything, like we have to have a complete plan for doing it. So in 2021, we know that the entire world was like almost stopped. And that time we decided, like India's VKC decided to go for a new strategy wherein we onboarded the famous film personality Amitabh Bachchan as brand ambassador. Just because he was not the Amitabh Bachchan as him, but his values, like we decided to celebrate hard work to be as our strategy. So he is the only person who can going along with our strategy, who is celebrating hard work for last 50 plus years. And he was doing footwear for the first time that day. So, and the other one was the next thing is in the fourth point is the building brand. See, nowadays there is a misconception that brand is just by a word or just a logo which is we use. But it is more than a word, or it is more than a word. It is a belief. Like, see, we all believe Tata as a brand. The value or the quality trust what they give. That is the important point when you create that brand. And in India's VKC, we have that India's VKC as our parent brand, and we have developed multiple brands for the different what you call verticals or different consumer sectors. See, when we have a Pride as our flagship brand, VKC Pride as flagship brand, we have hardworking fashion footwear. We call it as VKC Debond. So it is going for a fashion element. So earlier, footwear was just bought for a functional purpose of protecting footwear. Now it is no more a functional product. It is kind of it reflects your what you call personality. I mean, if you are wearing earlier days when I was, or many of us were kids, I mean, we were having only one pair of footwear or two pair of footwear. Any occasion, be it school or be it college, or anywhere in the office, it is only one pair of footwear. Now, morning one, when you go to office, another one, after coming back one, or jogging another one. So at least we will have around 5-6 pairs minimum. And if it ladies, I think we got them this thing that it's almost more than 10 pairs. So it's kind of it's coming along with your personality. So here we have to, any product has to be branded to get that consumer's trust. So these are the 4 points which I would like to highlight, wherein any business, like be it traditional, so as there are eminent personalities sitting from here, from various are traditional business like rubber plantation, then we have coir industry, and we have from the what do you call synthite industries, sir is there from the extraction for spices. And so a lot of all the eminent personalities are here, and we will be able to hear from their mouth that what they would like, I mean, they feel, or what is the changes, or what is the, how we would upgrade these industries in coming future. So with these words, I would like to close my speech, and I thanks the organizers for giving me the opportunity, and I thank you all for hearing me out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the valuable insights. I would like to call Mr. Paul Thomas to deliver the keynote address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Moderator of this panel, Dr. Beena IAS, Commissioner of Handlooms, and all my other fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy to be on this panel. When Razak said all the panelists, all are specifically from that specific industries. But some of you may be wondering what a banker can, I'm a banker by profession, what a banker can talk about traditional sectors of Kerala. But I was also wondering, there is another panel on fintech, why the organizers have not included me on that panel. So maybe then I realized that KSIDC team knew my passion, because I'm personally, and at ISAF, we are very passionately working for the last 3 decades. We have been working with all the traditional sectors of Kerala. So that is why I'm very happy to be on this panel discussing about roots of prosperity, nurturing Kerala's traditional sectors for a brighter future. So I've been giving loans. Majority of our financing was happening to people working in the traditional sectors. Which are the traditional sectors? Traditional sectors are coir, cashew, handloom, handicrafts, bamboo, rubber, food processing. All can be considered Kerala's traditional cluster sectors. So we have a specific people. All the panelists are experts in each of the area. So John is an expert in coir, Anand is expert in rubber, Mr. Devanayagam is expert in tea and exports, and Dr. Viju is expert in spice, and Razak already spoke, he is expert in footwear. And we have Dr. Beena as the Development Commissioner of Handlooms. Madam can definitely guide us on this, because Madam has been working in the industries department, and now in the traditional sector as such. So the world is now moving towards Industry 5.0. So Industry 5.0 is all about sustainability. Industry 5.0 is all about human-centric businesses. And the ESG rating, ESG plays an important role in sustainable investment decisions. So we have seen many industry transformations. The current Industry 4.0 is all about digital. Now the Industry 5.0, the world is talking about. And Kerala has got a lot of advantage on this to pitch on Industry 5.0 investments. The SDG index, Kerala has continuously ranked first in the last 3 editions of Niti Aayog SDG goal index, 17 sustainable development goals set by the UN. State is front runner in 10 of the SDGs out of 17. Along with SDG index, we have very high human development index equal to developing countries. Make Kerala as an ideal place to build sustainable industries and all our traditional sectors. You take all the sectors which I mentioned is considered as sustainable industries and fit for Industry 5.0. So, all our traditional sectors, if you look at, it is struggling now. So there is a lot of opportunity to revive these sectors. If you all work together, if the government and social entrepreneurs, investors, young startup entrepreneurs, if you all, and established industries, if come together, definitely all these industries, all the traditional industries can be revived. And one common thing about all these traditional sectors which I mentioned is majority of them are in informal sector. We have few exceptions in plantations. We have Aris and Malayalam or the Tata, Kannan Devan, except a few. There is the entire plantation in Kerala is smallholder plantation. Coir also, we have few established coir companies, but then cashew also we have few companies, but majority are small and in the informal sector. So in the informal sector, we need to organize them. They were organized as cooperatives in the past because of the structure. We don't have many successful cooperatives in any of these sectors. We have few handloom successful societies in Kannur or in Kutambulli, few sectors like that. So one suggestion I have is that we have to aggregate it, and we have got a very good example from Sri Lanka. Mr. Devnayagam will be speaking about it, how to aggregate the smallholder tea growers, and 70% of the tea exports from the smallholder farms it is coming. Yesterday I had an interaction with him, so you'll be. So there is first suggestion to the government and to the business community is that how we can think about how we can organize them into the. We have a very good example we have seen, and ISAF also, ISAF Foundation. I remember from 97 onwards we have been working with handicraft clusters. I remember we have with the help of Ministry of Textiles, we have promoted a bell metal handicraft cluster in Payyanur in Kannur district in 97. And after that, we have promoted many collectives like that. Around 129 farm and off-farm producer companies were promoted by us, and we are nurturing them. And we are also worked with the handloom clusters in Kutambulli during the COVID period. Kaitang project we have did. That also now recently with the support of NABARD, we have developed, we have just registered an off-farm producer company for handloom weavers in Chittoor in Palakkad, ma'am. So I'll be very happy to work with the central government. So I'm very happy that when I saw that you are there as a handloom commissioner, so definitely the Kerala handloom sector will get a revival. That's my hope. So, I'm not getting into the sector-wise specific issues because we need to have time for discussion. But for handlooms, if you take, we are talking about when handloom, we discuss about handloom, the names come to our mind is Balaramuram, Chenamangalam, Kutambulli or Kannur. There are many small handloom clusters in Kerala, many districts in Kerala. There is a potential if you can organize them into small clusters and federate them under a producer company. There is a lot of opportunity and we need to have common facility centers. So design, the brand support which an individual entrepreneur cannot afford, which is definitely true. VKC could afford Amitabh Bachchan as a brand ambassador, but collectively individual entrepreneur, weaver cannot afford. So we may have to get it collectively and take the branding accordingly. And similarly, handicraft also, handicraft and handlooms are also talk about a culture of a society. So if you wanted to give something, the tourists who visit Kerala, they wanted to buy something connected to the Kerala culture. So handlooms and handicrafts connected to our culture also. So we need to keep the legacy of our tradition. We need to support these unorganized sectors. That is my thought about that. And there are a lot of opportunity for the handlooms and handicrafts. I am seeing a lot of youngsters in this audience. So if you are interested to work with these clusters, you can improve, you can bring in technology, you can bring in design, you can bring in branding. And if you only think that you need to have a mind for social impact also should be there. If you are a social entrepreneur, definitely there are a lot of opportunity to work with all these traditional sectors. Bamboo. So we have State Bamboo Mission stall here. So bamboo also has got, today bamboo is considered as a eco-friendly resource. Earlier bamboo has been used only for mats and few uses. But now the use cases has gone up. If you go to a hotel, now you are getting the toothpaste, the toothbrush you are getting is from bamboo. And bamboo water bottles are there, bamboo tiles, bamboo has got multiple use. And there are central government institute in Northeast has developed a lot of new product, utility product also for bamboo. So bamboo in the plantation sector, Anandji, we can consider along with the rubber, at least on the borders we can cultivate bamboo. So that is another opportunity. So in the bamboo, I think government has to get into it, and FSC certification, Forest Stewardship Council certification is very important for if you wanted to sell bamboo products across the globe. So technology support is required to revive this sector. So the first one I said is to organize the informal sector into collectives and federate them. That is one suggestion I am putting before the government, before the organizers. The second is the technology innovations. There are few technology innovations already happening. The Handloom Directorate has introduced an AI-based rebate management system for handlooms and textiles. And recently our Honorable Prime Minister has highlighted in his Man Ki Baat one technology, Kosha AI, which help to authenticate handloom products. So these type of technologies are coming. So any technology entrepreneurs, think about how you can work with these type of traditional clusters. We have a geographical indication tag. Kerala has 31 GI certification out of 417 in India. So in conclusion, all the traditional sectors has got immense potential to revive and to compete in the new age world economic scenario where the world is talking about Industry 5.0. So consider young entrepreneurs, investors, consider investing in these sectors. This has got a bright future. With this, I stop. Anything else we'll be taking up during the discussion. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our panel discussion. We have an estimated panel consisting of Mr. John Chako, Mr. Venkataraman Anand, Mr. Ganesh, and Dr. Viju. And also moderating this insightful discussion will be our estimated section moderator, Dr. Beena IAS. Please join me in welcome our panelists and moderators. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon to all of you. It is an honor to be moderating this session on Kerala's traditional sectors. So we have heard the general perspective from Mr. Razak and Mr. Paul Thomas. Now to go into certain specific areas, because traditional sector in Kerala is not a uniform kind of sector. There are different sectors included in it. So I think it is only fair that we understand from the sectors, because they are all varied, the issues are different, the prospects are different. So I will start off with the Managing Director of NC John and Sons Private Limited, Mr. John Chaco. I have had the good fortune of visiting their stall at Haimtex, which is the largest textile exhibition in the world. So the coir, which people say is dying and flailing, coir finds a place in the most sought after international home textile exhibitions. So Mr. John Chaco, what do you think? I mean, how do you position the traditional sector as something which has future, which is a kind of niche market, which can find its own niche market?
Thank you. The first coir factories were set up in Alleppey about 150 years back. The sad thing is that the looms on which the handloom weaver weaves has undergone no change in the last 150 years. This meant that as the wage keeps going up naturally, the wage component goes up and the product became expensive. What the state really missed out on was when fiber extraction, which used to be done by hand, when automation came in that sector, due to a large vote bank and political interference, then we didn't allow automation in the fiber sector. So the fiber sector moved to Tamil Nadu, where there was abundance of coconut. Next came the spinning sector. Again, yarn was hand spun. And when the spinning sector came, again, it is Tamil Nadu that got into that initially. And today, exporters like us are 100% dependent on raw material coming from Tamil Nadu. So I think there were about 200,000 or 300,000 women engaged in spinning of yarn, and except for a few societies which are heavily subsidized by the state, most of the hand spinning is finished. And when automation came in the manufacturing of doormats, which of course was European technology, when that came, the output of a machine is, let's say, 200 times the output of a loom. So with that, the handloom sector, which is fiber extraction, spinning, and manufacturing, is completely gone. So, and the other thing that has happened is that in the fiber extraction process, there is something called pith, which is a binder inside the coconut husk. Now that is a growing medium, and today there is more pith export than product export. Pith used to be a waste. It doesn't burn, it doesn't disintegrate, and it used to be a waste, and Sri Lanka was exporting a lot of pith. We couldn't export pith because there is a salt content and it's mostly used in nurseries. So pith needed to be washed, and it was impossible to wash pith. But now Tamil Nadu has found ways to wash pith, and they're exporting more pith. And the other threat that we have is that raw fiber export is also huge. So we are losing raw material without any value addition being exported, and the state simply is not able to collect the husk, produce fiber, and produce products in the state viably.
That is the challenge he has explained with regard to lack of mechanization at the appropriate time, based on which the entire industry got transplanted to elsewhere. Now let us hear from Harrison's Malayalam Limited, which is an authority or has a central role in Kerala's plantation sector. Mr. Venkatraman Anand, advisor of Harrison Malayalam Limited, for his perspectives on his sector.
Thank you. I think very apt, because when we're talking, we're in a forum which is called Invest Kerala. I think we have a very, very big opportunity in this industry, basically in plantations. I was also in the coir industry, so I do understand what is the opportunities available. But I think it's not really working like what Mr. Johns talked about the coir. We have the largest land base in Kerala which is occupied by plantations, it's Harrison's, you have KDHP, you have other few companies also. Uh, Unless and until this land does not become productive, that means the productivity of the land has to increase. It need not be from a traditional, crop. We've been growing commodities like tea, rubber, and over a period of time, the way the consumer wants tea, like in the case of tea, let me explain very briefly. We were in South India the largest exporter of tea, at least in India, amongst all. South India was exporting orthodox tea, which is supposed to be the best teas which we could export to Europe and basically China, even we've exported to Japan. But what happened with the cost of manpower increasing, people tried to bring down cost without realizing that the consumer wants that product. And instead of making orthodox, they switched over to CTC, which is the strength of Assam and Bengal. They make some exquisite teas, and whole of India drinks that. So what happened, you started making a tea which was not acceptable in the international market, and you started making a tea which was in requirement for only Kerala. So now what happened is, where we had a global market, we have reduced that market size to only Kerala. So this is the biggest problem. Why did we do this? Only because our cost of production kept on piling. And what is our major cost? Major cost is manpower. So there's a very big opportunity. In my last 7 years, I've been with Harrison Malayalam, and there are 2 initiatives I started. I'm sharing that with you all because this is the opportunity that Kerala is providing now. One, we have tried to digitize the entire estate so that we understand there's a shortage of manpower. One on the skilled side, one on the unskilled side. In the skilled side, you have management people who run the estates. Even them it's becoming difficult. So how do you manage? How do you supervise? So we've got technology which has got the entire plantation digitized. And now we've also started working on proactive strategies. That means we are given, based on the data which we collect on rainfall and climatic factors like humidity, we are able to predict that there could be a disease attack, which means we are becoming proactive. But for all this, you require money. And individual companies have now been working on silos. This is the biggest problem that we have, not only in plantations, but in India. I think the biggest challenge that we have is we have to cooperate. This is one thing which I'll say. First, you cooperate as an industry, try to bring the best technology, then compete against each other for market share. We've not been doing that. And that was our biggest challenge. And my friend here, Ganesh, is sitting. He'll be able to explain how Sri Lanka has benefited from that. This is as far as the tea industry is concerned. And then now I'm also a mentor for a startup based out of Chennai, which has got into agribotics. So what is happening, we are trying to get robotic technology for plucking, which means where I use 20 to 24 people to pluck, or basically we average about 12 people per hectare, the machine can do 2 hectares per day with just 2 people, which means my cost comes down. And until the cost doesn't come down, this is not going to be a lucrative business at all. We're going to lose year on year, and every year you lose, you will try to cut down cost. So the big first cost that gets cut down is R&D. So there's a very big opportunity on R&D and technology in this industry. Similarly, when it comes to rubber, which we are again the largest in India actually, as Harrison Malayalam is one of the largest, we have 2 issues out here. One is, we've been predominantly a raw material producer, okay? We've never looked at getting into the end product, whereas you have a very nice institution in Kerala called the KMTC, which is the Kerala Medical Technology Consortium. They have got very good inputs, but it's only that by accident I met them, and we've started now working with them for the last 2 years and trying to develop, medical equipments which could be done from natural rubber, which means the value addition happens automatically. And there's so much of scope in that. The other part which I would like to say is, as policy matters, we've still held on to monocropping because this was done 150 years back. The policy in the Land Reform Act, it basically says that we can just grow tea or just grow rubber. Although the government has tried desperately to increase this and say you can go for other crops. They first said 5%, they had then said 10%. And then they came to a stage where we tried to tell them that it should be across the garden. But you know how it is, coalition politics is also detrimental at times. I don't want to get to politics, but although the government is very keen in allowing us to grow other crops, there is within the government a system which is not allowing us to do that. I think that has to break, you know, unless you don't do that, get out of politics, we can't do that. So there's a lot of opportunity in this industry. And we would invite people with technology, we will invite people who can help us. It's not value addition per se, because many people talk about value addition. Yes, you know, what could you do? It's not packaging tea that makes value addition, you know, because everybody, you have some 150, 200 brands, you know. It's very difficult to compete with all of them. So what is, I somehow feel that there is an opportunity if people can collaborate and start marketing. Because one container for an individual estate may take 25 to 30 days to get it ready. But if 5 estates get together, you could do it in maybe 3 to 4 days. So our supply chain increases. We could work on various factors. So I think a lot of us are working in silos. We need to get that. And technology is definitely the only way out. The second way out is the policy on the Kerala land, which I'm being very blunt about by saying that within the government itself, there seems to be a difference of opinion. And unless that is clarified, no use. Because people are willing to invest in tourism, people are willing to invest in other crops, people are willing to do everything. But because it's not clear, we don't get the permissions from the grassroots level. You know, although it's said at the ministerial level, it's not available at the village level. So what happens is people are shying to invest. I think we need to break that, and there would be a lot more investors who would be ready to get in. And thank you, ma'am. I'll take the questions later if there's something else.
Thank you for putting forth the possibilities in terms of technology, in terms of R&D, in terms of collaboration, in terms of using estates for tourism. So basically a very forward-looking thinking, and I'm sure all these suggestions will be made, because we are in a conference which is looking forward, and I'm sure these will form the broad directives which the government will be using going forward. Now, I will move on to Mr. Ganesh Devanayagam, who is the chairman of Ishwaran Brothers Exports Limited. Now, we all look up to Dilma Tea when it comes to brand building and identifying a country with a brand. Whereas in India, you have got different types of brands, and maybe this kind of collaboration is not possible. And we still have not been able to market it as one single brand. So, what are your insights on this topic?
Thank you. Good evening to you all. This session, especially after that lunch, could be a bit difficult, so we probably will all be helped by a cup of tea, would be better. So I am here to talk to you about tea, and especially Ceylon tea. So I bring greetings from Sri Lanka, and thank you for the organizers for having me here. And more importantly, to talk about the roots, because in the modern world of AI, and they were talking about large language model, quantum computing, and they discuss all this, and they also say, oh, some of these industries are sunset industries, like some of our industries, and they talk about all this over a cup of tea. And if you remove that cup of tea, their thinking will stop. So the roots which are not seen are the ones on which the economy or the people are held by, even though they are the foundation, as we all know. And in Sri Lanka, you might also think, Sri Lanka was a country which went through a big economic crisis. What is there for a Sri Lankan to come and talk in an investment summit? But the real scenario is that even though all industries, especially the tourism, money is coming from abroad during period like COVID or during our financial crisis, the only industry that kept going was tea, and tea earns about $1.5 billion for Sri Lanka. And the good story there is the Sri Lankan tea gets, on an average, $5.50 per kilo. And this is to be compared with about $3 for a kilo of Indian tea exported on an average. So we get $2.50 net more than the Indian tea exports. Not just Indian tea exports, if you compare with any tea other country now, Kenya exports about double the quantity of what Sri Lanka produces, but they make almost the same amount of money because they also, their pricing is even less than what India gets. And why is it so? Why is this different? I think the word orthodox was mentioned by my good friend Anand. And orthodox means it's traditional, it's done the old-fashioned way. When things are done the old-fashioned way, there's still that air of class, that air of importance that the world attaches to. You know, your antiques are, of course, valued much more. So the orthodox way of making tea, Sri Lanka stuck to it. When South India changed, as Anand said, Sri Lanka stuck to it, and not because they thought it was great. It just so happened historically, and we did have a good division of business model where the planters only planted and produced, the exporters did the marketing. That continues to be a good model in Sri Lanka. So the good marketing that we did and the orthodox story continues to attract a good price. And you might think, oh, this Sri Lanka is great for tea, but there are other countries. Like if you go to, I was in China not too long ago, about 6 months ago, where tea, even though it's done the traditional way, I think Mr. Chaco, is it, who mentioned about the looms becoming automated or the spinning becoming automated. But still, there is a huge industry in China which makes tea the very, very old-fashioned way, completely by hand. And those teas are sold at the highest possible prices you wouldn't even imagine. And you go into a train station or the airport, the biggest advertisements are not the liquor ads or the fragrance ads, it's the tea ads that are there, because they make quite a lot of money making tea the very, very old-fashioned way. And how is it all done? It's ultimately the importance and the value we as people give to the industry that has helped us to sustain in the past. And it's ultimately, again, it is in the tradition of the Indian psyche to respect the elders, respect what's important and old. I think if we bring that back on, we should be able to, create that. Dilma was mentioned. Dilma is a very proud business for Sri Lanka. They created a great brand. And how did they do that? They stuck to the origins. They still market the Ceylon tea. I mean, there is so many other teas, but ultimately tea is the moment of truth is when you taste it. And if you are, it's not the volume, it's not the value, but it is the quality that, when it touches your tongue, that's where the moment of truth is. So they stuck to it, and they created that, they used that story. It's not just a fantasy story, it's the real story where the tea comes from a land which is true to its soil, and the tea is plucked by hand still, and the tea is produced in the old-fashioned way. So this story definitely sells. So similarly, maybe even other industries which are root industries, on which the people have survived and lived, if we are to make use of it, it is how the marketing needs to come in to value the story that you have, to value really who we are. And if we value it, we can definitely market it. We need to first believe in the story ourselves. So, in terms of the other point which I should also mention, is why we need the roots to be strong, is because if you pluck the root, you get barren land. So if you don't have the people surviving with the with the industry that they are grown up with, people will be going out of the traditional lands, and that's not a good thing ultimately. So again, Sri Lanka's story of the smallholders, 70% of the Ceylon tea is produced by the smallholders, and it's still the orthodox way. And the reason why, and again, how government can help also comes into the story. The reason why the smallholders developed over the last, not too long ago, the tea industry is about 150 years old, but the smallholder story is only about 30, 40 years in Sri Lanka. And why it happened was that there was good incentives to start something new. And there was money to be made. And only if there's money to be made, incentive also will be useful and people are going to go into it. So there was money to be made, and in the small back gardens of people, they started planting tea. The nurseries gave at a very reasonable price the plants. So the Ceylon population in the areas where there was no plantations, the tea industry started growing, and we were able to market that, and it became a great story. But more importantly, there was a transparent way of giving the benefit to the smallholder. So the Ceylon Tea Board looks after the price mechanism. So there is what's called a green leaf formula, which is very, very strongly monitored and controlled by the tea board. The price at which the exporter buys at the auction is directly linked to the price paid for the green leaf per kilo for the small farmer. And we have 488,000 of them, 480,000 families who produce from, quarter acre to half acre. Every day it's a cash crop for them. They get 5,000 a week. It's just additional income. So that's how the industry still continues to grow. We still have problems. We also sit around and talk about how, our production has come down, mainly due to government intervention, actually. Somebody in one of our presidents thought that it was a great idea to make the whole country organic, and, he stopped importation of fertilizer for some time. That kind of brought the production down. But now, we are trying to increase production. But even the production came down, the prices have remained, so the people have not lost out. So it's ultimately putting money into the pocket of the common man, which can actually bring the industry up. And that can easily be done without creating, the unicorns and the billionaires of the world. You want money in the pocket of the people on the ground. If you want to do that, it is these root industries, these traditional industries that can actually make a difference, I believe. Thank you for listening in.
Thank you. That was really a different perspective, because as to how the traditional story can be conserved and actually marketed as traditional, and how even small holdings, because these are some of the issues which we often come across in Kerala in many of the sectors, and how these hurdles could be overcome and still a brand could be made and succeeded. That was a very important learning from Mr. Ganesh Devanayagam. Now I pass on to Dr. Viju Jacob. Viju's Synthite Group I think Kerala's industrial story is almost synonymous with the Synthite Group. In fact, whenever we go for our talks, we used to hail that story and look Kerala, and we used to say that Kerala is investor friendly because there is Synthite. That was a long story. But in this long period, I'm sure you have seen the ups and downs, and the policies change and the industrial scenario itself changes. So what has been your learning so far, and what do you think are the prospects for the future?
Thank you, Bina ma'am. Hope you remember in 2018, you called me to Delhi for a Make in Kerala summit. We were having a couple of people from Kerala. So putting it like, if I talk about Synthite and my activities and the support that government is giving to us. Basically, Synthite started in 1970, and it was the first industry with spice extractions in India. And we came from there, and we had only black pepper for extraction, and it's only one product that's going for extraction. From there, today we have about mostly 3,000 products, different variants. That's because purely of a technology we have used. We have used a lot of creativity in that and innovations in that. And the company has grown to different lines. And today, in 2070 to 98, it was very easy to get spices in Kerala itself. Like, for example, if we talk about pepper, ginger, turmeric, nutmeg, everything was available for our production. But today, the availability is less. The reason is because the third generation coming in is not interested in doing farming. Nothing to do with the government or anything. It's to do with the interest that the third generation has is come down very drastically down. So we have to go and buy from Vietnam and Sri Lanka and Indonesia. The time when pepper was grown in Kerala, our production was about 100 metric tons. Today it has come down to 60 metric tons. And Vietnam is come up with 250,000 metric tons. And Indonesia is about 75,000 metric tons. And Sri Lanka is about 25 to 30,000 metric tons. So where are we? So the reason is because the third generation is not interested in farming. Today in Kerala, we have a couple of cultivation that we have is cardamom and rubber and cocoa, a little bit of cocoa. And this is the reason for non-availability of the raw material in here. So we had to go, we are having a factory in China as well as in Brazil. So we have to go ourselves to different locations because of lack of raw materials. At the same time, we are doing the backward integration with the farmers in Andhra to get the chili without pesticides. The biggest challenge today the industry is facing is the pesticide issue. The high pesticides into the spices like chili, even for pepper, people are using high pesticides. So this has to come down. The government has to take a strong step to control this. Otherwise, we'll all get into trouble. Not myself. Everybody sitting here will also get into trouble with the different diseases. So what we do is when we extract our product, we are using a technology to isolate the pesticides out so that we can be a good quality supplier for the European and US and for the international market basically. Today, if you look at Europe, every week they have new policies which is coming in regarding the regulations which is coming regarding the spices and regarding the extracts, not regarding any product that is getting into Europe. So we all have to be very cautious about what we are doing, what we are farming. Farming is good, but you should have an ethical farming. Like now we are planning to come out with organic pesticides and into supplements also. So this we are investing about more than 100 crores for the pesticide, organic pesticides, and into the pet food industry as well as into supplements, nutraceutical supplements. And this is how Synthite has grown from 1970 till today. If you ask me, we have a group of companies of subsidiaries of Synthite, where we are manufacturing. The brand is Kitchen Rushers, is a B2C brand, and we have a supplement called Nat Extra. All these brands is in the domain, and not only in the shops in Kerala. So we have a great support from the government in all respects. Thank you.
Know some of the struggles you have gone through also. So I think we have had a mixed set of, inputs. The need to innovate and the need to technology vis-a-vis the importance of tradition and the importance of marketing of the tradition and the need for governmental intervention in certain core regulatory areas. So the entire gamut we have gone through. So I think now it is time, we have some time for questions, hopefully. Huh? Yeah. So we have 10 minutes for question and answers. So if you can pass around the mic.
Regarding tea, I've been in the tea industry for 45 years. So Sri Lanka, India was the biggest producer, consumer and exporter of tea. In 1977, we bought an export duty on tea. and Sri Lanka got our export markets on a silver platter. They kept it. That's a different matter. Kenya also, it didn't have tea. Tea in Kenya came as a retaliation of the export duty in 1977. Thereafter, government policies in 81 and 84 further discouraged exports and quality, and then due to the restrictions by the US government on trade and the rupee ruble trade, we started supplying to Russia. So many factors. Actually, tea estates in Kerala or South India can make 10 times more money producing other things. We need not stick to tea, but because of some ideological blinkers, we continue to do things that we make a loss at. Thank God we are not forced to make bullock carts. As far as your pepper problem is concerned, nobody is interested in doing 2 acres of pepper. They educated, even I remember 30 years back, the bus conductors were MA politics and history and things like that. Now it's all on a different level altogether, and nobody is interested in waiting for 1 year to pluck a few pepper vines. Unless you have it on large scale, we are not going to be able to sustain the resources that we can produce because again of this ideological setback. So unless we change our policies to suit the present times, whatever existed 50 or 100, 70 years ago does not exist today, and we should make rules and laws adapt to the situation to make sure that the incomes increase, the employment increases, and whatever resources we have are fully utilized. Just a thought.
Pepper crop is, people are not growing pepper is because of 2 reasons. One is this, the next generation is not picking up. Second is the climatic, no. One second. One thing, then the climatic conditions, and the government has to support the farmers by giving insurance and support the farmers so that they will have confidence of building up.
No, a point well taken that there need to be policy flexibility. That is I think, the core of what he has said. Any other questions, please? Yes, please. So first he and then here.
Ma'am, I'm sure Anand sir or many of the dignitaries have said about the policy change. Is that really going to happen immediate? No, it's to you, Beena ma'am. Is that policy change going to happen immediate?
With regard to?
To the plantations where we are allowed to grow different crops.
Okay, now that is, you have thrown a googly at me because I've come all the way from Delhi. I'm part of central government. I've come here for this. But having said that, I think...
Yeah, I think let us be optimistic, and things are now started happening. So let us be positive. Things have, I think, plantation directorate has been attached to the industry department 1 or 2 years. Yeah, it is. So 5% and government is positive, but as Mr. Anand said, there are some consensus has to be, in Kerala, everything has to be made as consensus, so we have to be patient for that, I think.
And having said that, because I know this whole ease of doing business, I'm sure all of you remember, I used to call meetings and all. And we were standing at, I think, 23rd. And from there, we have come to 1. So there is definitely some change which is happening. So let us look at it in that positive direction. In fact, today morning we heard all the ministers, including Chief Minister, giving a broad directional shift. So I think let us hope that maybe not everything at one go, but every workshop, every panel here will be providing some policy pointers which KSIDC officials are taking note of. And this will definitely form, at least it will be the blueprint. You know what to do. You know what to do, when to do, how to do, that is a different story. But at least we know where we are going.
Ma'am, you remember that time we asked 30 days to clear, and they were not agreeing for that. You remember that? Maybe you can tell that. We are on across the table.
No, Ma'am, I'll just add on to this. What I started off by saying that, we have to look at the land productivity, and the land rules have to be changed only then can we look at land productivity. And that is my only concern. And Kerala being a very small state where land is not at all available, and even in those lands you have rigid policies which do not allow flexibility, then I think we are losing an opportunity. That is basically, I think, what Johan and Kiran both have added, and I would like to substantiate that. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anand sir. I think you elaborated the question.
No, that point is well taken.
Good. One last question. That's to Eastern Brothers, sir. You said your teas have been sold at $5 and our teas are at $3. How did you achieve that too, so that we can also follow the same $5 on the Orthodox?
It's purely due to,
Marketing.
I think, three things. One is specialization. So the exporters do exports, the producers look after production. The second is, sticking to the knitting as they used to teach in those days. Do what you know better, which is the orthodox teas that we continue. So Sri Lanka dominates the orthodox tea market, even though Kenya is continuing to produce a crazy amount of tea. So we have about almost 50% of the market share for orthodox teas in the world, in the export market. The third one, of course, is the value addition. So value addition, Sri Lanka exports almost 50% of its produced in value-added form, not as bulk teas. So that again adds a big value to the the equation. So these are the three main reasons, I should say. On the value addition and marketing, the government has a big role to play, because in terms of marketing this story, I don't think individuals can do that, as some other panelists also said. So there is a crying need to do that, but government is probably not the best outfit to do marketing. So there has to be some sort of a private-public thing. We are experiencing the same thing. Our tea board has the function of regulation as well as promotion. Regulation, they're really good. Promotion, they're absolutely failed. So now the private sector is trying to get together and make the promotion for the whole industry to be more effective. I think that's a key thing where the government can help.
Thanks, sir.
I'm Dr. Vilu Patel, and I'm the founder of Investkerala, which is an R&D company. And I think all the problems that are being mentioned here can be resolved with good R&D and restructuring of the way we look at the plant. And I'm all with you that roots, you cannot just eradicate, the real God's own country, the very phrase will disappear if you change the agriculture around here dramatically and drastically. So if the tea is to come back to life, put technology into it, put new R&D and marketing strategy, position it properly, and collectively bring the 2-acre plots into one large acre plot, multi-acre plot. Maybe that's what the government can also do. Bring in the farm, like the Tatas made the coffee cooperative in the Nilgiris. And build the co-op. I mean, this state is known for being a cooperative, and it's we are proud that it still is there as a state which is 100% educated, follows the left. As today most people go right, but it is a state that has prospered under the left. And so I would say stay within the course of the framework, change with science and tech, because today technology is available. We can reformat almost anything, I can tell you that clearly. So my question to all of you is, why doesn't the government incorporate, of course the park is there coming up, but more intensively, get it all sequenced, get these crop sequenced, let's get the co-collection in, let's get the, what are the tea lines that we need to pull out first, which will make it fragrant, modern, get to the point. So that's my suggestion, not to change, but change within, with tech.
So I think we are running out of time. So thank you for those lovely suggestions, which actually reinforce the points that were spoken by the panel, which reaffirms the point that was spoken. And as the final word, we can say that we need to preserve our tradition, but this tradition has to find support through technology in terms of marketing, in creating a niche market, and with sufficient policy support to make these traditional industries flourish. So I thank all the esteemed panelists for their presence today and for their insights, and for a wonderful audience for interacting so positively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And we would like to take this moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to the honorable dignitaries on the dais. As a token of appreciation, we request the Honorable Dr. M. Beena IAS present a memento to our below delegates, ma'am, please. And first, we have pleasure of honoring Mr. Vikezi Razak. Razak, sir, please come forward to receive the memento from M. Beena IAS. Please give them a warm applause. And next, we would like to recognize Mr. Paul Thomas to accept this memento as a token of appreciation. And we are delighted to honor Mr. John Chaco. Please come forward and receive this memento. And next, we have pleasure to recognizing Mr. Venkatraman Anand. Please accept the memento as a symbol of our gratitude. And next, we are honored to recognize Mr. Ganesh to take over this memento. Please give them a big round of applause. And last but not least, we have pleasure to honoring Dr. Vichu Jacob. Please accept this memento as a token of appreciation. And finally, as a token of appreciation of our leadership quality, I would like to welcome Mr. Vikezi Razak, who would like to present a memento to Dr. M. Beena IAS. Thank you so much.